Hello students, in the previous session you have learnt resources are those which are used by us to satisfy our needs. We are going to learn about types of resources. Learning objective: at the end of this session the student will be able to explain the types of natural resources, classify development and use, origin, stock and distribution based on physical factors. Explain the importance of human-made resources. Describe the importance of human resources. Significance of human resources for the economic development of any nation. Resources are those which satisfy our needs. Generally, these resources have been classified into natural resources, human-made resources and human as a resources. So students, can you tell me what are the important resources which we use in our daily life?
Yes, ma'am. They are water, food grain.
Yes, very good. Can you list out some more resources?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good students. If you look into this list, are there any differences? Are you able to make any differences in these resources?
Natural, and some of them are human-made resources.
Students, if we look into this list, there are resources which are natural and human-made resources.
Ma'am,
Yes, natural resources are those resources which are easily available in nature and we use them without any modification. We breathe the water which is available in rivers and lake, the soil, minerals are all natural resources. In contrast, those resources which are made by humans and they are not available naturally. For example, like road and building. So students, you have already listed out the resources, right? Now, can you make them into natural resources and human-made resources? Can you classify them? For example, tree is grown naturally, so we considered it as a natural resources. In the same way, building is constructed by man, so it is a human-made resources. So, can you classify them and list out? Very good. Students, there are some natural resources which we use directly. For example, air which we breathe. Can you give me some example like that?
ma'am, like water.
Even though water is available directly in nature, but we cannot consume them directly because the availability of drinking water is depleting day by day. And the water which is available in river cannot be used directly. So, with the help of water, and drink. Okay students, now we will discuss the natural resources, and these natural resources have been classified based on their development and use, origin and stock and distribution. Based on development and use can be classified into actual resources and potential resources.
Ma'am, what are actual resources?
Yes, those resources whose quantity is already known to us and we are using it at present. For example, the actual quantity of petroleum is as a resource is known to us. Similarly, coal. So, this is called actual resources. Next, potential resources. Potential resources are those resources whose quantity and quality may not be known to us and they are not used at present, but in future they may be used. For availability of uranium in Ladakh is quantity and quality of this uranium not yet assessed and estimated. So, currently they are not being used. In future, they may be a potential resources for us. Again, the natural resources has been classified based on origin. Based on origin, the resources have been classified into abiotic resources and biotic resources. Biotic resources are those resources which are soil and rock. Biotic resources are those resources which are living things. For example, plants and animal. So, students, in the beginning we had listed out some of the resources. Now, can you classify them into abiotic resources and biotic resources?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, abiotic resources are soil, rock. Ma'am, biotic resources are
Tree, animal, yes, very good. Students, you have classified abiotic resources and biotic resources into non-living things and living things. Further, the natural resources have been classified into renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Renewable resources are those resources which can be used again and again. For example, wind is a renewable resource which never been exhausted in the nature. That is why it is a renewable resource. Similarly, water and solar energy is also a renewable resources. Non-renewable resources are those resources which we cannot be used again and again. For example, takes the petroleum is extracted from fossil fuel along with the natural gas and chemicals. So, the petroleum once it is used get exhausted and they cannot be replenished in our lifetime. So, students, you have already listed out some into renewable and non-renewable resources?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, students, now you are all clear with what is renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Further, the natural resources have been classified based on stock and distribution into ubiquitous resources and localized resources. Ubiquitous resources are those resources which are found everywhere on the surface of the earth. For example, wind energy. Wind energy can be used anywhere on the earth. Similarly, like solar energy. Localized resources are those resources which are found in a certain place of the earth. For example, copper is not found everywhere. So, students, can you cite some more example for localized resources?
Yes, ma'am. They are gold and diamond.
Yes, very good. Gold and diamond are localized resources and they are found only in mines. In the beginning, you had listed out some of the resources. Now, can you classify them into ubiquitous resources and localized? Classification based on ubiquitous resources and localized resources. Air, minerals like gold, water, copper, sunlight. Iron ore, yes, very good. Students, you have understood what is UB. The distribution and availability of natural resources depends on physical factors like climate, relief. The distribution is uneven on the Earth's surface. In the next session, we'll learn about the significance of human resources.
Hello students, in last class we have learnt about natural resources and its classification. In this session, we are going to learn about human made and human as a resources. Students, we have already discussed about natural resources are those resources which are easily available in nature and we use them without any modification. Students, when we were discussing about natural resources, you must have listed out various resources, but these resources cannot be used directly to fulfill our needs. To make best use of this, man started using his skill, knowledge and technology. That's why resources made by humans using natural resources are called human made resources. For example, we will get paper from wood. This paper is made with the help of pulp, which is the product of wood. This can be done by processing using skill and technology. Likewise, iron and steel from iron ore, cloth from cotton, furniture with the help of wood, pot with the help of mud. Students, now I am going to give you an activity. You have to list out various natural resources and how human modify these resources to fulfill our needs.
Yes, ma'am.
Significant asset in terms of his or her skill and ability, he or she can convert anything into resources. Therefore, human resource. For this, human needs to be educated and trained to develop them as a resources. For example, in human resources, his or her health plays a major role. When a person is healthy, he can contribute productively to a nation. As we know that we are undergoing through a tough situation because of COVID-19. So, we are able to invent vaccine for this virus with the help of skill and knowledge. In the aspects of skill, carpenter and blacksmith can convert anything into resources with the help of skill. For example, table and chair. If you look into motivational aspects, some companies we can find human resource manager who always motivates the workers for better management. So, human as a resources refers to the quantity and the ability of the people to work, so that we can make best use of nature only when he applies knowledge, skill, time and technology. Students, we can learn or acquire all this skill, knowledge through education, training and health, which leads to the human resource development.
For example, Switzerland is a small country in European continent. Without any mineral base, the country has a strong economy. It's all because of its highly qualified and productive workforce.
Students, we can understand the human resources with the help of these pictures. Students, If you look at these pictures, we can see that scientist is reading a newspaper and he came to know that crops are ruined due to drought. So, he started to think on it and tried to find alternative way to grow crops. If you look into second picture, you will see that scientists had found a solution for it so that they can grow crops even in drought with the help of alternative ways like drip irrigation, tube well. In third picture, we can observe that farmers are happy with new ways to tackle the drought and grow crops. They are discussing that it is a possible because of knowledge, skill, education, we could able to find a solution. That's why human resources is a precious resources where we make impossible things into a possible things. Students, when we were discussing human itself is a resources based on skill and knowledge. For example, doctors and supporting staffs are helping with their valuable services. If you look into scientists, they are innovating various things in the field of science and technology, so that human being itself is a biggest resource in terms of development of any nation.
So, students, in both the session, we have learnt the meaning and nature of resources, the types of natural resources, natural resources classified based on level of development and use, origin, stock and distribution of natural resources based on physical factors, the importance of human-made resources, why human is considered as a resources, and significance of human resources for the economic development of any nation.
Wear mask, stay safe